You know, I really like tea. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a video where I am talking with none other than the esteemed YouTuber, TF2 YouTuber, I should say, WAMO, where today we're going to be discussing about how TF2 has introduced some serious pay-to-play elements, which almost kind of give the game a pay-to-win sort of nature to it. Yeah, guys, basically TF2 has had a big issue lately with the new updates. They've been trying to help combat the bots, but unfortunately what that has done is made it difficult for anybody who's not a pay-to-play player to access some key features of the game, which is needed to not only work with your team, but also to play the objective and actually win. The game is just seriously on a downward slope. It's basically like there's a hole. I think WAMO put it, I think you put it this way earlier, brother, that there's a hole in the game and Valve is just basically putting tape over it instead of actually addressing the real issue.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, what have they done so far? They've restricted free-to-play accounts from using text chat and voice chat. They're now not able to communicate with their team unless they buy something. And I've actually heard people say, and I don't know how true this is, I've heard people say, well, I tried buying something and I still can't use these new features.
Yeah, they can't even call for medic in game. It says that they are unable to do it. So literally,
Really?
like regular game features that you need to use, like calling for medic or calling out a spy, you can't even use.
Goodness gracious. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that Valve is trying to work to fix the bot issue, but I don't think this was a good move, and I don't think this was the proper way to handle it, restricting all your regular players from using important game features like that.
Yeah, it's definitely an essential feature of the game, and blocking the majority of players, because the most people who play the game haven't put money in. That's where we get most of the players from, new players, and they can't even use basic functions in the game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All that's going to do is cause new players to join the game who have never played Team Fortress 2 before to be confused, to not understand, to get irritated. It's going to cause returning players who've maybe played a little bit and then wanted to come back and try it again later to be irritated because these features they used before they're now no longer able to use. And I mean, I don't see how much good can come from this. And honestly, you know, has it helped the bot situation? Probably a little bit. I haven't been playing the game lately, but I've had people tell me that there's still a big bot problem. WAMO, is that more or less correct?
Yeah, the bots are still a big problem, and even if they're not spamming the chats or calling things out, they still have their usernames, which can be racist things or things you really don't want to see, and they're still hacking. So the hackers are still there, and they haven't left. It's just all they're doing is punishing. So the minority of people who are bots are doing something wrong, but they're punishing the majority along with them, which is very unfair.
Incredibly unfair, and just, you know, that's just not the way to handle it. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were in Valve's shoes, what would you do for the bot situation?
So
How
what
would you
I'd
fix the
probably
bot problem?
do is I would start off by focusing on an anti-cheat. Like, I know that it's a big task and that the team isn't exactly big right now, but I'd really focus on an anti-cheat and a way to solve it. Or even there was an idea, a temporary, until they haven't fixed the anti-cheat, is adding a capacha, I think that's how you pronounce it, to the game. So you have to prove that you're not a bot before joining a game.
That's actually a really good idea. I didn't think about that. But adding like a recapacha or whatever the stink it's called, the little thing where it's like, I'm not a bot, check here. Slide this little puzzle piece, click out the pictures with the traffic lights. As annoying as those things are, that would be a great little temporary measure until they fix the anti-cheat. Now, what I would do personally, in addition to fixing the anti-cheat, making it better at detecting those things, obviously I'm not a coder, I don't know how intense that is. All I know is that other games have done it much better. I know everybody hates Fortnite, but look at Fortnite's anti-cheat battle eye. How many times have you seen a cheater in Fortnite?
Literally never seen a cheat.
Neither have I. I maybe saw one once, one time, but that might have just been like a little glitch or an exploit. It was basically, it looked like somebody was like speed running across the map, but that could have just been like a little glitch on my end. So like, yeah, and that's a much bigger game than TF2 player base wise, and one that has honestly a much bigger competitive scene nowadays. So But then again, they're hiring a lot more people to work on it. They're making it more of a priority because that's kind of their main go-to game compared to Valve and TF2, unfortunately. Now, what I would also do personally on top of amping up the anti-cheat is I would actually put in a method to ban people based on hardware IDs, which is what Apex Legends does. I feel like I'm naming a lot of battle royales and I don't even play battle royales. But yeah, you know how they will take hardware IDs and ban them when they're banning cheaters so they can't just make another account and hop back on the game? What do you think about doing something like that?
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Or even like I know that Cathook, it's the main thing that botters use, is actually
Right.
run on Linux. So if they just blocked like Linux computers, or they made hardware ID, that would be perfect. Like when
Yeah.
one gets banned, his software is traced and they can't be joining again with that same computer.
Yeah, like I feel like that's absolutely essential for free-to-play games because otherwise, what's to stop them from just making a new account and hopping back on? They clearly don't care. So if their only point is just to troll or grief or ruin the game, what's to stop them from making a new account? If they actually have to take out part of their hardware and put a new part in there, or at the very least reinstall Windows, they're clearly going to think about it a little bit, and that's going to stop, I would believe, the majority of cheaters. So
Yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely
and
would assist.
now something else we kind of wanted to talk about as well is I think the whole culture against free-to-plays in this game.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, this has been an issue for years. I mean, I started playing TF2 in 2016, and it was an issue back then. Now, you've been playing the game since before it was free-to-play. So when do you think the whole anti-free-to-play culture really began?
I feel like ever since the game became free to play, there's always a community of people who thought, oh, I paid for the game, I deserve more rights in the game than you. And then that's kind of carried on and built up over the years. Like it started off really small, just a small group of people who actually pay for the game. And now it's just anyone who spends any money in the game has this, like, not everyone, but a lot of people have the opinion that they are better than other people and they deserve more because they've spent money.
Yeah, and I just think that is like so stupid. It strikes me as being one, a little entitled, and for another, I think it's just honestly toxic and does nothing but break the game down and break it apart. Because everybody's like, oh, free to play, they're trash, they don't know what they're doing, da 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 da. I mean, I can understand the logic of, somebody who's going to actually invest money into a game they like is more likely to take it seriously and be invested in it. I understand that. But I feel like in TF2, it's taken way, way past that. I don't know if I've ever told you this story, WAMO, but one time in TF2, somebody on the enemy team got mad at me and said, oh, well, you're just free to play trash. And I said, well, I'm literally wearing this, hat. Like, look at it. And he said, well, that doesn't count. You just bought it.
Wow, that's logic.
I know, right? It's like, what do you, I don't even think he knew what free to play actually meant.
Yeah, wow.
So, but yeah, this whole get on my level and put some money in the game culture is toxic. But I feel like these newer updates have, and just the bot situation in general, it's not even just purely Valve's fault, has kind of just fostered this attitude even more. Because when you're looking for somebody to kick, because there's a cheater, you're going to look at the free to play who has no cosmetics.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've definitely noticed this in my games.
Oh, yeah. Or when somebody's good but has no cosmetics, you're like, oh, he's cheating. So.
Yeah, exactly. When you see someone with a gibbous headshot you, it's instant report,
Oh, yeah. No, everybody's upset about that. And I don't know. I just feel like that's such a shame. Because, I mean, I didn't even have paid cosmetics until I started doing YouTube. And that's because my viewers were nice and they bought some for me and sent them to me, which was really, really kind of them. But up till that point, I didn't have any. I just had free-to-play ones because I just wasn't interested in buying them. I just didn't want to spend my money on it. And, well, plus I didn't really have a whole lot of money back then because, college kid, not really working, but besides the point. But you can still be a good player without paid cosmetics. But when you are, people are going to not take that very well because of this whole anti-free-to-play culture and the cheating culture as well.
Yeah, I also feel like there's a lot of discrimination to new players, and a
Hmm.
lot of people, older players, push them away from the game. I've noticed this when I actually started playing comp. I joined a lobby on this website for organizing TF2 comp games, and because I was only playing my first couple of games there, I kept getting kicked from teams, so I couldn't finish a game, and it took about, I think, 4 games to even finish a game without the team kicking me because I was new to the format. And I've
Oh
noticed it also in
gosh.
game with newer players who are bottom scoring, people saying, "Oh, kick this person is rubbish," and then you look and they just new to the game. So I feel like people should really be treating the newer people better and teaching them about the game instead of just kicking them.
Right, just trying to be open and more kind and welcoming, I guess, because a lot of games are that way, but TF2 not so much, and that's just not going to help if there's diminishing player numbers to be getting rid of all the people who are new and who are trying this out, because they're kind of the lifeblood that keeps the game alive.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with that completely.
totally.
As if you look at other games such as Overwatch, I think some other games also, I don't know what ones to state, but look at Overwatch. They have this system for when you level up, you have a chance of earning a good item. So they give you a loot box, which has a chance of getting legendary items or just a common item. And I think that's definitely something they should include in TF2 instead of making everything so you have to pay to get something, so that you can actually earn some loot and earn some things to use, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, like in Overwatch, like you said, you'll level up a certain amount, and they'll give you a loot box you can open without a key after you get to so many levels. Now, I've never played Overwatch, but that's how I've heard it's done. Where in TF2, people are always criticizing the leveling system. You take me, for example, I'm a big completionist. I always try to get to max level on stuff. But people would always ask me, why are you trying to get to max level? They literally don't do anything. And I was like, well, they're a level. What do you expect them to do? And they're like, well, they don't give you anything from them. So there's definitely people out
Yeah.
there who want like to feel rewarded for leveling up. And not only with having like a crate, a keyless crate or a skin or a hat or whatever dropping from that help people to feel rewarded, but it would also help kind of diminish, I feel, the whole free-to-play culture because someone is wearing this new hat that they got. People could see like, oh, they've been playing for a while, they've leveled up, they kind of have at least a little experience to know what they're doing, and I think that would really help temper this anti-free-to-play culture just because people wouldn't have to necessarily invest money to get cosmetics. I do feel like Valve wouldn't want to do that purely because then there would be a slight hiccup in people buying cosmetics. Now, I doubt that would actually exist because I think that if people were actually getting some cosmetics from drops like that, they would still buy them because look at Overwatch. People still buy cosmetics in Overwatch even though they get a free one every few levels, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that
Well,
doesn't help it. If anything, it would probably help because it would keep more players around longer playing the game because it would help decrease this anti free to play culture that exists.
yeah, and I can already hear people saying like, "Oh, like if free to players get items, then they'll just get unusuals and the economy will be dead." But they could make it so that you can't get unusuals from this, and that the items
Totally.
are untradeable, so that they
Yeah.
don't ruin the economy and that you can't bot them. So it's just,
Yeah, like
a nice
how
gift for people.
Counter-Strike does it. Counter-Strike
Yeah,
already does that. Well, they do something a little different. It's if you're on like the winning team and you do a certain amount of whatever, then you get something like that. But they're untradeable. You can't just ship it
yeah,
off to somebody else. And so that way it wouldn't kill the economy. It's kind of like after Deflategate happened. Or not Deflategate. I'm an idiot. After, what was it called? Crategate? The Crate Depression.
Great Depression.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
there
it.
we go.
Could remember. But after that happened, they made all the unusuals untradeable. So and that helped kind of, although the economy was killed for a little bit, it kind of helped it start to kind of come back from that. So that was
Yeah,
good.
it's back to normal.
All right, guys. Well, anyway, that is going to be doing it for this video. WAMO and I decided to make a video on this to collab together for this project. And I think we got a lot of great points out there. A big shout out and a big thank you to him for coming on and discussing this with me. Like you guys know, I
It's
don't
my
really
pleasure.
make a whole... Yeah, and I appreciate that, brother. As you guys know, I don't really make a lot of TF2 style content anymore, but I did want to talk about this because I felt like it was important. So Again, a big thank you to him for coming on and making this with me. A big shout out to our T Squad Plus premium channel members who support us on a monthly basis. Their names will be on the screen right now. They get some awesome perks for supporting the channel on a monthly basis, and you can too if you want to. Just click the join button down below. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. Please go over to WAMO's channel and check him out. If you like TF2 stuff, he constantly uploads videos. He makes such a great variety of content, and he's just an overall awesome guy. So check him out. I will have his version of this video linked down below in a pinned comment and also in the description, so be sure and check that out. Give him a sub and all that awesome stuff as well. That's going to be all for now, guys. Until next time, I've been Kesgaming, he's been WAMO, and I will see you all at the top.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Aside from my soul.